2, 1. Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Straight to the Scarlet Halls and on the salty streets of Borealis, I'm Slidewhistle.
I am Immunization.
I'm Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag.
And this is episode 8 of Do Not Relent. What did y'all boys do in WoW this week? You guys do anything cool?
Well, admittedly, most of my week was getting ready for the raid. We are in full raid mode. So, I was out there trolling for potions, getting materials, stuff like that, trying to up my eye level to get that raid. Although we've been, it's just normal right now, but we've been doing pretty well, so...
Hell yeah, we have.
We just raided last night, and we got to the point that we made it to last week in one night. So I think that we are pretty good. We're looking at almost a full clear on normal this week. And it's only the second one in, which is exciting.
We are balling out on Dazar'Alor. Eating them asses. Eating them troll asses.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, please no.
Show me that back toe, though.
So, Immune, what did you do this week?
So yeah, the same. We, as you said, are in full swing and raid. Other than that, I did my normal daily things like emissaries. Slide and I ran a few more Mythic Plus, and then we all did a little bit of alt leveling too. I had started my Void Elf Warlock, so I'm excited about that one. I actually really like Affliction.
Uh-oh.
Someone has to.
Yeah, Aaron the Affliction hater over here.
Well, I did 100 solid alone levels of Affliction Void Elf leveling, and it wasn't my favorite, but I had to do it for the RP of it all.
Are we ever going to see good old Nastasia?
Good old Nastasia, she got T-mogged into her heritage armor, and she probably sat there for 4 months. Then I did move her to the Dwarven district before logging her out. And give me a couple years, and maybe I'll make it to the portal to Borealis.
Well, someday. I've only leveled 10 levels on mine so far, and I like it, but granted, that is only 10 levels, so I guess I'll get back to you guys when I make it to the top. Slide, what did you do on WoW this week?
Let's see. I ran I think it was a 6-key Mythic Plus, so kind of getting back up there. Got a nice 395 cape in my Mythic Cache, but I already have a 400 cape, so it was kind of useless. I've been doing Lunar Festival stuff because I want to get my Violet Proto Drake for the What a Long Strange.
Hey, what up? It's
journey.
me, Violet Proto Jake. What's going on, bro?
No,
You down to toss the pigskin?
no, his name's Drake. It's him, dude. He's ready to hang out.
Bro.
Where's Josh?
God's plan.
Where is Josh? But yeah, I've been working on that. That one seems pretty easy to do. All you have to do is go to various cities and dungeons, and I'm a mage, so I could get anywhere I need to pretty easy. Rated. Oh, right before we recorded, I was doing the Drustvar Emissary quest, and I was just waiting for the big stupid Soul Goliath to spawn so I could start bopping him. And this Pharaoh Druid attacked me. So I'm fighting this Pharaoh Druid. I was winning, but he started to heal himself. So I was like, oh shit, this is bad. He was wrecking me, so I ice blocked. And as I'm ice blocking, an enemy rogue had pulled Soul Goliath and had pulled about 45 tiny ads over the Pharaoh Druid. And all the aggro went to the Pharaoh Druid because the rogue went invisible. So this Pharaoh Druid who was waiting for me to get an ice block got stampeded by a wave of enemy mobs that killed him. They killed him, and I was able to sneak out of my little ice block and run away. He had to be so pissed off that he would have had me if this rogue wouldn't have pulled the mob of enemies over his body and just trampled him to death. It was great, and I'm excited about that, obviously.
Yeah, I saw the end of this, and I was captivated. I couldn't leave through my head to see it, and I'm impressed that Slide was able to pull that off, and he got 10 honor for it, which I think is a lot. I've never seen double digits from one kill.
Well, I was screaming because I was like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, and my eyes flocked, and then I was saved by a stampeding horde of just enemies. So, thank you, Soul Goliath. You're my homie out there. I love you. So, I guess we can talk about the raid, since we've all been doing it together. We made it farther on Thursday. How many more bosses did we down? 3?
Yeah, I think since our last recording, we downed 3 more. Yeah, so we talked about how we were just kind of making it to the fight against the people who channel the power of the Loa. I forget the name of that fight.
It's Conclave of the Chosen, I believe is what they're called.
So we made it to Conclave last time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so this week and the end of last week, we downed them. And this week we kind of had a different team. Like, we had a different tank. We were down a healer, different DPS. So it was still impressive that we were able to clear as much and as fast and as easily as before.
And we made it to my favorite, or I have yet to see it, but I imagine that it'll be my favorite boss, Blockade. The boss picture of it is a boat.
Yeah, I haven't watched any videos about Blockade, but I was watching Method's stream of them at Blockade, because they're currently blockaded at Blockade, and that fight seems crazy, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I just saw like a big sea giant like punching the boat, and I don't know if that's mythic only or heroic only, or I'm hoping that we don't get to see that on our normal runs.
So it looks like the fight is on a boat. Like, the Horde like take the boat, and then there's these 2 like Storm Song people that summon various things along the boat, and you have to face them.
Oh, the Tide Sages, right?
Yeah, the Tide
That's
Sages.
pretty
That
cool.
does make sense, because the Tide Sages are major friends of the Alliance, so they would call upon the water.
What is that? What is the main Tide Sage's name? Brother Joseph? Brother something.
Pike.
He's
Brother
cool
Pike.
as hell.
Yeah, Brother
Pike. Brother Pike can get it. Like, he's my real homie, and he's also a sexy old man.
Also, maybe a few weeks down the line, he'll be our sexiest NPC.
But yeah, anyway, so we cleared Conclave. That fight seemed okay. It gets, I think, pretty crazy at the end. I guess, I mean, you are our resident healer. How was healing that fight at the very end?
I mean, the worst part of it is that we don't have enough dispels to deal with how many people get silenced, and it's a big silence too. How long is that? Like, I've never been hit with it, but it's like 30 seconds, right? Yeah, so I don't know, I can only mass dispel like once every like 20 seconds or whatever, so unless everyone's grouped up, and I don't think it is centered on any one person, it's just 4 random people, so that's hard. That's the worst part of it. And then whenever we have to go and stand under the bird, and we take a lot of raid-wide damage. But I think we've kind of gotten it down now.
Yeah, I think we have it pretty smoothly. Aaron, mage to mage, how often do you spell steal Paku's aspect from him?
You know what? I try and do it every time that I can see it, but also I usually like to focus down one creature at a time. So I'll spell steal, and it's not until like 10 seconds later I realize, like, oh, there's 17 other mobs in here that has that same thing. I should do my job and spell steal them all. But also, spell steal is weirdly the only thing on a fire mage that does mana burn. So I can only do it 4 times before I'm out of mana. And
yeah, I think
it's really weird to be that way as a fire mage.
Yeah, I think it's fine to let them have it if they're gonna die, but you get that nice buff. But like, cause like I was doing it as arcane, and I'm like, oh god, like I'm already so mana starved that pressing this button changes my whole like rotation and how I'm conserving my mana, because it eats up so much mana. It's nuts.
I mean, some of the
and they
other
get it
healers
back a couple
can,
seconds later.
Yeah, some of the other healers can also dispel them. I can as well if I remember, but I have other things to be worrying about.
Yeah, you have to keep us alive. You have other things to look at. So speaking of nasty troll Backtoes from earlier. We got to meet the King of Hearthstone. As far as we know, as Alliance, we've only really ever seen him in Hearthstone, right? We haven't encountered Rastakhan in the world as Alliance before
Yeah,
this
that's
raid,
very
right?
true. He's never left at all, Dazor, as far as I can tell. This is the first time we're all meeting him.
Yeah, so
And
especially as
then
Alliance, we don't see him.
subsequently not meeting him.
Yo, I think he gave us probably the most troubles. I would say a little bit more than Opulence. Would you guys agree or disagree?
I mean, I want to say I agree, but I think that now that we know what we're doing, I think it's easier and faster fight than Opulence. Or maybe they're about the same. But I think it's really interesting. The Rastakhan fight. Slide, you and I both go into the other phase, right?
Yeah, I think Aaron was in there on the first time too, right? You were in the Deathgate phase against Mr. Bombswamdy.
Yeah, they like to they like to have me in there, I guess, because I can move around, and I don't know, like, because I have Scorch, so technically I don't need to stop, although Scorch does like half a bit of damage, so it doesn't really help, but it counts.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and if you have combustion, you use Scorch anyways for that, so then that kind of makes it a little bit easier. I'm in there as an arcane mage trying to dodge about 50 ghostly death orbs, and I'm like, I can't move. If I take one step, I ruin everything. I need to keep this rotation pristine and perfect. But I think once we figured out like the death gates and where to place them, it got a lot easier because our gates were like way off in the distance, like in no man's land. Because did you know that when a little ooze hits the death gate, it goes into the real world? I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, so that's why it's good that we started placing them kind of like in a square, and then we can kind of like stand in the center of it so that less balls go there.
Yeah, it's a lot of the Rastakhan fight is just Lynn being my brig brother and telling me what to do. Like, I understand.
He's throwing you in the brig?
Yeah, like, I understand things that he needs me to do, but it's just like, Growl, can you run through 3 balls? And it's like, I mean, I guess. I don't really know what it does for me, but I'll do it for you.
He's like, get in there.
Yeah, because like I never really understood how many stacks or whatever we're supposed to have before we go through the gate. I'm sure there's a number that Lynn's looking for, but I don't even know where to see that number mainly. So I don't.
Yeah,
I don't even check
he's
my
told
stacks.
He's told me to go through at 15. He's told me to go through at like 30, at like 3. I'm just like, hey, if you tell me to go, I'll go, I guess.
Yeah, I never look at them because I'm like, well, Lynn's gonna tell me, so I'll just keep firing Arcane Blast, Arcane Blast, Arcane Blast, and that's fine.
You know what? My biggest part of that fight though is that Bwansamdi leaves Rastakhan at what I would consider a very early juncture. Like, it'd be one thing if Rastakhan was left when he had like 5% life left, and it's like he makes fun of him as he dies. But he leaves, and Rastakhan still has like 5 minutes to that fight, maybe.
Yeah, and even at that point, when Bonswamdi leaves, he has like 60% health. Like, he's not even that done yet.
Yeah.
But it's like, what are you doing? But also, oh my god, is it so satisfying to just blast Bonswamdi with my attacks after all the taunting he did when we died in that continent, Zandalar. Oh my god, it felt so good to just smack him.
Does
around.
Bwamsamdi give you guys like class specific
Yes,
like taunts?
guess that blink didn't take you too far.
Yeah, like whenever
It's
die,
something like your invisibility ran out, didn't it?
yeah, when I die, he's like, "Ooh, a priest." I'm like,
He just makes fun
I'm
of
like,
your
"Fuck
class.
you, Jesus."
It's not even clever.
It's just like, yeah, he's being mean at that point.
Ooh, your name's Immunization.
Yeah,
That's
it's like, and then
dumb.
sometimes he like tries to cut a deal with me if I want to become like a priest for him, and then I'm just like, I don't know if that's in my best interest, considering the last person that you made a deal with is dead now.
It's definitely not.
And then Talanji gets that big spooky skeleton hand. I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Speaking of Rastakhan, we can talk about the differences between the Horde and Alliance when they enter that room.
Oh yeah, because when
Yeah.
we first enter, you know how there's that like interaction where Gen is speaking with Rastakhan.
And he's essentially like, turn yourself in. And then Rastakhan gives him an 8-minute speech about how he'll never do it. And he's like, okay, well, I didn't want to do this.
Hey, mister, come with us, please. Hands behind your back.
Yeah, so I guess you know how when we become Horde, it's like Anduin and the people on the boat who are like retelling it to us what happened when we were busy fighting Rastakhan. So similarly for the Horde, they have somebody tell them, and I think this is Blizzard's way of saying that the person who's telling you has like a different like way to view it than how it actually may have happened, because they, when the Horde do this scenario as the Alliance and they're being told about it, the dialogue is different.
Do we know
It's-
what is said that makes it different?
Oh yeah, it's drastically different. Like, so I don't know who Otoy is. Oh no, this is the guy who's like telling the story. But what happens is, for the Horde, I guess Gen walks into like the temple and he says, "King Rastakhan of Zandalar, I order you to submit. You will bow before your new master, King Anduin Rin, and you will deliver your daughter to us as a hostage." In what world did any of this happen? Hey, by the way, give us your fucking daughter, dude. She's hot. Hand her over. Like, what? And then, like, Rastakhan kind of just, like, from their side is like, you, in exile without a homeland, you dare invade these sacred halls? And it's kind of, like, more of the same. But at the very end, like, what Gen says for the Horde, he says, "So be it, heroes of the Alliance. Strike him down. No mercy for this savage." It's like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's like for us, he was like, well, looks like you forced our hand. We're gonna have to do this now because you won't cooperate.
And the Horde's just like, "Give us your land and your girls." Like, what? Yeah, that's a fun way to kind of keep like the Horde Alliance fuel burning.
And each side, unless they metagamed and they looked it up, would not know that that wasn't 100% what happened. Even though, in my opinion, the Horde centric ones seem silly, but I guess it's because I know the actual Alliance people more.
It almost seems like a caricature, like from the Horde side. It seems like it's too like crazy to believe. Like, give us your daughter. Like, what would we do with her?
I mean, honestly, probably just put her in the stockade like all others.
I mean,
And then
I
she'd
guess
get
she
out.
was. Oh no, yeah, because she was in the stockade. Like, we already had her there, remember? So I guess give her back. She's on bond. But yeah, after we finished Rastakhan, we moved on to probably the most heartbreaking fight that none of us wanted to have to go through.
I try
Aaron,
and
I'll
lay
let
down
you talk
every
about-
time it happens.
I do lay down whenever it happens. I do slash sleep, and I don't move from my stairs.
I like how this week before the fight, we all spent a few minutes trying to figure out how to make ourselves not look like dirty Horde before the fight.
Yeah,
I was willing to be an Arakoa for that fight. I didn't want to be a gross troll.
yeah, so we made it to the point to where we're fighting from the Horde perspective, and we had to fight our king, our High Tinker Mechatork, and it's so hard. It's so hard.
Kelvin. Although I will say, I mentioned it before. At the end of that fight, you blow up his suit, and he goes like, "Uh-oh, like, situation critical!" And he goes away in a silly little pod, which I'm like, oh, he's in a silly little pod. And then when you go back home, Anduin's like, "I can't believe Gelbin is fucking dead. We saw his
Oh.
dead body smushed on the ground." I'm like, he kind of flew away with a big propeller machine.
I
Like, it was
think-
actually kind of
I
whimsical.
think what happened is he like has an emergency button that put him in this like cryo freeze pod, right?
Wait, but do you guys know what the pod is called though?
I am going
Like,
to
that
now
he
find
uses?
out.
It's his PLOT armor that helps him escape.
Stop.
It's literally what it is. It's called the plot armor, but I don't remember what it stands for. It's somewhere in the data mine text, but Oh, it's his. I found it. It's his proto-layered optimal Titan armor. It's like some like kids next door shit.
I'm glad that we don't actually have to kill Mechatork.
That fight has so many cool mechanics to it, though. But let's start off with the important things. How do you guys feel about your hot new race and your hot transmog that comes with it as a member of the Horde?
I'm gonna let Immune, because I have just as powerful as emotions, but I'm gonna let Immune start with this one.
Okay, so everyone knows that I hated playing Tauren because it feels so slow. They talk so slow. Everything is so slow. They're just so big and clunky and slow. And I tried. It was the first thing I ever tried to play, a Tauren Priest, but I couldn't do it because walking around Mulgore as this giant slow thing felt like fucking ages. And now I'm just getting triggered again in this raid where I have to like slowly move around the instance and try to take down our high tinker. No, I don't think so. And then okay, another thing. I never thought I would say this. I want Light of the Naru back. Like, ever since they buffed it, it's actually pretty decent. So I want that. I don't care about this War Stomp thing. Give me Light of the Naru back. And the T-Mog is bad. I mean, I know all of us kind of match, right? Like, we have, like, the same tabard and, like, similar looking outfits. It's, like, supposed to be, like, a Horde army set. But no. I spent so long to make myself look good, feel good, play good. So I don't want this. I don't want anything about this.
I think the tabards are actually different because when we were all Horde, I was looking around and I noticed that we're all wearing different tabards. I don't think that they're the ones associated with our race, but I guess I don't know the Horde ones very well to know any better. But it's also funny because Immune playing a Tauren Priest is like it almost killed WoW for him completely. Like when we first started playing, we were both playing Horde, and we were playing together. But he hated how slow Tauren felt. Like they're not actually slower, but he felt that they moved so slow that he literally stopped playing WoW for 6 months. And during that 6 months, I swapped to Alliance to wait for him, so I could just see what was happening on the Alliance. And then I fell in love with the Alliance. So it all comes back. You're back in the body that you hated 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah,
it's been like 4 years since the holy cow fiasco almost ended Immune's career.
But I guess you guys are welcome because we are in the better faction now.
Oh, you're gonna make our 12 listeners mad. Please don't hate us. Don't.
I don't know
us.
who you're lying to here. I feel like we've been a pretty blatantly Alliance podcast here.
Yeah, but we have to tone it down if they're gonna hate us more.
No, I play the fool in my other day job. I'm here. I'm all about the Alliance.
So tell me about your
Will ain't
race.
here. He can't censor me.
So that's what's happening on Heroes Callboard. He's telling you, shh, you can't say that. This is a Horde podcast.
I won't say yes or no. Yeah, I get to be, through some miraculous math, get to be a lady troll. And lady troll animations are almost non-existent because they are so dainty. They don't... I miss my Worgen, like, you throw your arm back and you wind up a baseball and you throw the shit out of that thing every time you throw a fireball. Nope. This, you hold a small fireball in front of, like, half bent arm, and then when you toss it, you slightly bend your elbow. I'm like, wow. It feels smooth, like when you play Nightborn in that one dungeon back in Legion, but it wasn't fun. Like, I almost forgot, if a fireball didn't fly out of my hand, I wouldn't know that I had even cast it.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled with the Tauren animations either. I guess maybe I've just gotten so used to, the Draenei ones, because that's what I've been seeing for the last few years, but yeah.
So, Slide, you are probably the only one that is slightly all right with it. How's the Gabo life?
Back in maybe like a year ago, me and the boys, these two, we went on a quest to please one of our Horde friends by making Horde characters, and we leveled them from 1 to 110. Or was it 120? Well, it was 120, right?
No, I think it was 110.
No, it was
110.
it was 110 because it was
From 1 to 110.
It was before.
Yes.
Yeah, it was to run Burning Throne with him.
And we did it before the EXP changes came through. So it was a labor of love. It was hard, and it was on a female goblin. So like, I'm not too perturbed by it. Like, I kind of like being able to do the Soldier Boy dance whenever I want to, but it's very negligible. But I feel like I notice it because the racials change. I'm an arcane mage, and I'm a gnome, and one of the gnome racials is that I get 5% more mana as a gnome. So as arcane, mana is everything. Like, I'm draining mana, I'm burning and conserving, and I feel like I probably don't notice it, but in my head I feel like I notice that, like, I have less mana that I have to work with.
But don't worry, you have Rocket Belt.
Yeah,
Good old Rocket Belt.
So do you get 2 rocket belts then, since you're an engineer as a gnome?
Oh, so Rocket Belt for a Goblin is different than Rocket Belt for Engineer. As an Engineer, I just get to run really fast. But for Goblin Belt for a Goblin is you get to fire off a rocket and hit the enemy. And then there's Goblin Jump, which lets you, like... It's like a worse blink. You, like, kind of just go, and you shoot kind of like 20 yards ahead of you. So I didn't use either of those abilities because I'm like, well... I don't know. I had it on my bars. I just never pressed the button to use them. But yeah, I think it's fine. My animations I don't notice because, like, they're both kind of small guys. They're both wearing cloth.
And, like,
whatever.
The arcane animations you don't really see anyways.
Yeah, it's literally just me going, and pushing my hand forward. And that's it. Arcane's kind of lame, but I love the damage, so I'll take it. But yeah, so on normal... we get shrunk down and we have to get inside these robots, and there are colors above our head that people have to call out. And on last Thursday was hectic because everybody was calling out everybody else's colors.
Everyone wanted to be the hero, so you would, and also there's like 2 to 3, or there's 2 people who jump in them at the same time. So you're like, okay, I'm waiting, and it's like growl. I'm like, okay, and then it's like Grimlow. I was like, what?
Slide yellow.
I'm gonna die.
Immune.
Growl red.
Growl red.
Yeah,
Green. Blue.
Red.
Purple.
Also, I have a bone to pick with you, Aaron.
Yeah.
On Thursday, I got shrunk down for the first time, and someone's big, hairy-ass feet blinked on top of me.
Excuse me, they wouldn't have been hairy because I'm forced to be a troll. so you could talk about my scaly, gross blue feet.
Okay, some scaly, gross blue feet squished me and almost killed me because they blinked carelessly onto an already small person. I demand an apology right now on air.
One that you will not receive.
That's fine, because I also squished you by accident.
Yeah.
I also did it. I also blinked on you. Using blink on that fight is so dangerous. Like, you will squish so many people.
Anything on that fight is so dangerous because you'll squish someone. And let me know. Let it be known. I see whenever people get stomped on because, I have to heal up this massive damage. So stop it, guys.
I think heroic, the squish might be like insta kill, or like it's a hell of a lot more damage. So I think you can survive like 3 squishes. No, I think at 3 squishes you die on normal. I'm pretty sure, but I think heroic's like 1.5. You're dead. So that's gonna be scary. But also on heroic, for the robot colors, only the people who are shrunken and in robots can see the other person's colors. So like, there won't be any mass shouting of colors. It's just gonna be like me and you, Aaron, except it'll be me and you and 2 others.
But also, I was thinking about it when we were in there, because you do your 3, and then there's a kill button. And my overexcited self, I always immediately hit the kill button. But you can't do that in heroic, because if someone leaves the robot before the others, they're fucked.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, so imagine we have to put 3 buttons in, and then the kill button. If I do my 3 and then kill my robot, I can't tell you what your third is until someone jumps in there. So that's going to be an added level of coordination. Is like you have to understand even when you finish it, you have to kill your robot simultaneously.
If that's how that works, I honestly love that. Like that's such like a unique mechanic that we haven't seen ever. I don't think. Like it's awesome. It's gonna mean that Immune has to use his microphone during raid. And probably you too, Aaron, honestly.
So, like, would we just have, like, set groups of 2 that would do it together? So, like, we would easily just be able to do it since we're literally in the same room. We don't even have to, like, yell over the raid.
No, I think who he shrinks is random. I don't think he just shrinks whoever he wants to.
Yeah, true.
So it could be, like, you and Brio, or it could be Aaron and Rosh. Like, you like, that, like, but that's fine. But, like, there's people who don't talk in the raid at all. So, like, that's going to be, like, hectic and just really like, fun. Like, I'm excited.
Hold up a second. Let me type up this color and send it into the raid chat.
I mean, that's what I literally have to do unless I put my microphone in during Discord, because I only communicate via text.
Just unmute it. Just talk. You're going to have to talk. It's funny because whenever Immune talks, people are always, they pause and they're like, who
was that?
And then they go, oh, right, okay, yeah, so do this. Because you talked last week during raid, which you never do.
Yeah, because, like, there were things that related to just the 3 of us healers, so I was like, I'm just going to say it so that they hear it. And then, yeah, as you said, everyone was, like, silent for a second. And they're like, oh, yeah, he can talk, I just don't.
They're like, is that one of the healers, or is that some smart-ass DPS trying to butt their way in here?
Yeah, so I think that's definitely, like, the most interesting mechanic in the fight. I feel like other than the robots, it's just, like, dodging the giant blasts when you have to hide behind hide behind the giant rocks.
Which I have to say, I mean, I'm not an hashtag epic gamer or anything, but I've seen a lot of people get tagged by that laser. My boy Gelbin sets his feet down, like, opens up his arm, goes like, you'll never beat my laser that is coming in this direction.
It's like, Gelbin, just fire it, my man. Don't announce it.
So, for anyone listening in Phoenix Fusion, open your eyes. Just come on. It's not that tough.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of time to leave.
Because it hurts a lot if you get hit by it. And
yeah, it hurts a lot.
I was the only person to die in that fight when it happened on Tuesday. And it's because I had to hide behind a rock. And then when it came out, I cast Rune of Power. And I'm like, I'm not leaving this fucking Rune of Power. And I stood on it and I fired. And 2, like, fire lava lines? Like, I don't know where they even came from. Came in
sheep.
between me. They came, like, so, like, I'm in the middle. One came from the front to the left. One came from the back to the right. And I'm like, if I move in any direction, I will die. So I'm going to stand still. And for some reason, I walked forward, and then I died, because Immune didn't heal me in time.
Okay, well, it's because you're over on the other side of the map by this rock, and you're so far away from everyone.
You have a holy pull. You can pull me out of it.
I mean, you're probably out of range.
It's fine. I was, because I will admit, for 3/4 of my buttons on the clicker, so my health stone, I don't have bound to any button I can click on my mouse, so I went to give it a good old-fashioned click, and as I was hovering over to click it, I died. If I were just to bind Healthstone to one of my keybinds, I think I would never die, because I think all of my deaths are me, okay, Healthstone, I'm going to give it a, oh, I'm dead, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of buttons on there, so you might as well do it, I guess.
Shh.
But yeah, other than the giant blast and the robots, the thing that annoys me the most is those, stupid bots that just, like, kind of awkwardly, like, stumble around and get in your way and stun you. I'm like, come on, I'm trying to do something here. I have cast time. God, fuck off.
Because they lock on to somebody, right? Like, they lock on to a person, and it is, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I
don't know. If I may throw my hat in the ring, everyone's like, oh, like, make sure you use your stuns and your CC. I mean, it may be in Heroic they'll move faster. They don't go very fast, so it could also be like, or you could move. You could just not stand there.
They're pretty slow, but some people, arcane mages, don't want to have to move for anything in the world. Like, I can blink and come back, but I think they lock on. So I always Frost Nova them just to keep them in place, just to help for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I never want to have to move. Don't make me move, Aaron. Use that Frost Nova. Do it for me. Please
Or
help.
for me,
Sure.
because like I only have approximately 2 spells that are instant. One is like one of my big cooldowns, and the other is the shittiest hot in the world that won't heal anyone for shit. So
Also, if there was anybody in the raid that I would say needs help on movement fights, it's probably Immune.
listen up, okay? I've gotten a little better.
Also,
want-
this is a side note. We can keep talking about Gelbin, but I love the opulence fight because when all the little boys come out, I'm like, Ice Nova, Ice Nova, big dragon head. Like, I hope you didn't plan to go anywhere.
No, that fight is fun because all I do is I cast Rune of Power, I Arcane Power, and then I just go Arcane Explosion, Arcane Explosion, Arcane Explosion, Arcane Explosion, just over and over. I'm like, bam, bam, bam. Like it's so satisfying.
You guys want to know a secret?
Oh no, what?
Part of that fight that we're talking about right now, and we all stack up together, right? Sometimes, basically all of this last week, I, instead of healing, just did Holy Nova.
Hey, that heals.
Yeah,
right?
it does,
mean,
but
hey,
there are
yeah,
definitely
it
better
helps.
heals, but like that damage.
Also, don't let Immune distract you from the fact that I said he was probably the worst at movement fights, because I was going to do a rundown of movement fights that he's died on that have been hard for him.
There's a lot of them.
Hey, we all used to be bad.
I just want to reminisce on the King Garoth fight with the spinning laser, and how Immune was running in his little Draenei high hoof heels, trying to figure out which way the laser was going to go, because he was put on Fireside for opulence, so he had to experience the cones that were happening for once, and the cones, we were doing so much damage that the cones didn't actually fire off until the very end, when the cones are literally half of the room, and then both him and Cynical went down to it. Both of our healers melted to it, and I'm like, it's so hard to learn this fight because we just did so much damage to it.
Yeah, and I didn't know which way it was supposed to fire because, as you said, all the rooms leading up to the big one, we did enough damage to skip, so I didn't even have a preview of what it would be like. And then I dodged maybe like the first 4 of the 5 times that he fired it off, and then I noticed that Will was falling behind, so I like stopped for a second to like put a cooldown on Will so he wouldn't die, and then I was like, oh fuck, I forgot to move for a second, and then I died, and Will lived.
That's right, it was Will's fault. And also, I'm talking all this shit, I think I died every time Immune died on that same fight. Like I also died when he died.
But I was soul stoned.
But the best part was that Myth, our sassy former druid, now demon hunter, was like, guys, just stand behind the boss and you'll be fine. And I was thinking, Myth, that's so obvious. Fuck, he's right. Just stand behind the boss. Just always stand behind him.
So
I'll have you know, lightning route. No one actually died. We were just slow.
I want to be on that fucking lightning round. I want to see that fight. It seems so much easier than Fireside.
Sometimes I go and I make a sandwich during it, and I just come back and it's like, I'm gonna hit you with lightning. And then I move my mouse slightly, and it's like, oh, I missed you. And I go back
Nobody
to the kitchen.
ever dies over there. Nobody ever dies on that side.
yeah, as
Nope.
someone who's done both, I can say that the lightning side is probably like 10% as hard as the other side.
And like Fireside isn't really that hard, but if you have a mechanic where the boss is gonna spin and do murderous damage, people will always die, no matter the raid. King Garoth, Trilliax from Nighthold, like it's gonna kill somebody. Okay, so I think we should talk about things that are really important right now.
Such
What's
as?
that?
Okay, so War Mode had some changes happen to it, which is, I think, good for overall War Mode, but people on the Alliance have taken it to be kind of like a bad thing, which kind of pisses me off. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah, so first off, the Horde was pissed off because we were getting our 30% bonuses and our 400 eye level gear, and so much so that like their top guilds were switching over to the Alliance side just to get like this one piece of 400 gear, which I think is a little bit of overreacting, but
Yeah, with sassy ass names apparently.
Yeah, I was
The
like,
name of their raid
okay.
group when they switched over was This Game is boring.
It's like, then what are you even, like, why are you doing this? Like, if you're doing this for sponsor money, naming your guild is that the best way to get sponsorship money? By being dickheads? And B, it pisses me off that they're currently winning the Mythic race. I mean, like, nobody wins it until it's all over. And we're recording this as of Wednesday, the 30th. But, I don't know. It just feels like the benefits were not that much better for one go around for 400 eye level.
Yeah, and they probably feel dumb now because as of this week, the bonus went down from 30% to 15%, and there's no bonus gear.
We talked about it on Heroes Call Board. We mathed it out for the average Raider team. They just paid Blizzard, a company whose game they hate, $750 just to get that 400 eye level piece.
Well, technically they didn't pay them because they used in-game gold to do so.
That's
so
fair.
Because they run so many split runs and stuff, I think people said that they actually used gold that they had amassed from other people paying them for runs. So they didn't actually pay any money, but they still paid the equivalent of that much to move characters back and forth. It's just like, I don't know. It's weird. I feel like it's not, like, people are acting like it's like the biggest thing in the world that the alliance percentage went down from 30% to 15%. Like, people on the forums and Reddit are basically being like, oh, I'm alliance and I'm going to turn off war mode because 15% isn't worth it compared to 30%. Because I'm going to keep getting ganked and I'm going to keep dying in the wild. And it's like, you obviously must be new to war mode, because if you have on war mode with other people who have it on, you're not going to die. Like, the more that have it on, the more safe you are in numbers. Like, it's weird. It's a weird logic to have.
Yeah, as Slide was telling me like the other day, it's just so weird that these people have the mindset that instead of just doing war mode to do war mode, or because you enjoy the world PvP aspect, they did it just because there was an additional piece of gear or some reward. And if that is their whole mindset behind doing this, they shouldn't have ever switched it on to begin with, because it's like, I don't know, it's just so contradictory to what it is in my mind, you know?
And, like, I understand.
It's an experience just as much as it is like a tool, an in-game tool. I mean, I've had mine on the entire time, so I guess I have no other frame of reference. But it's like, I don't know. I don't go and turn war mode on, to be like, oh, it gives me that extra 15 Azurite points with this group. It's like, no, I want to fight kids. I want to make it interesting. Because running world quests can get painfully uninteresting really fast.
And I think, oddly, we're in the minority of this group. I think that most alliance people in war mode, not most, but I think the more vocal ones, think that it's only worth it if you get rewards for doing it, because you're going to have to do corpse walking and have to walk back to your body after being farmed 18 million times. But it's like that hasn't happened to us in, honestly, a while. And if it happens, it's very localized in one area where, like, a raid is sitting on. And I haven't encountered very many Horde raids. And I've been playing a lot of WoW. So obviously all that we're saying is very anecdotal and, like, it's only our experiences. But, like, I feel like you can really tell the difference when, like, there are shifts. Like, when they introduced this 400, like, gear, it was very clear that so many alliance had it on, because there was never a time when I was outnumbered by Horde. I feel like during this past week, it was alliance camping everything, and it was because everybody wanted that gear. And now that it's off, we're losing, like, more than the people who had it on for that. People who had it on for the bonus, who apparently were a thing in the first place, are not like, the bonus is low, so I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I mean, I was reading that apparently at the peak alliance presence, so like when we were the ones that controlled trolling quests, or when we weren't ganked when we were trying to go to Toltegor, even in those moments, alliance was still outnumbered 2-1 apparently.
Which was a thing that Ian said on the Q&A live stream. And I need to watch it again, because what he said has been misconstrued by members of the Alliance in War Mode to basically be like, Horde are always going to outnumber Alliance, is what people think that he said, which isn't true because it's unfortunately it's all in kind of like the sharding, but I feel like they fixed a lot of these sharding issues quietly like 2 months ago when all of a sudden Alliance could quest on the coast of Turtles and fucking Rotbow. Aaron, fucking Rotbow's cave, you can attest, was a nightmare for Alliance since the expansion began.
At least 2 Hordes would sit in there like it was their goddamn job. They weren't even fighting Rotbow. They were just sitting there and guaranteeing that if you tried to get up, they would put you down. It was the same Tauren warrior and undead warlock every time. You'd just be trying to get your turtle quest, and all of a sudden you'd say stunned, and you'd be like, "Excuse me?" And you'd see Big Larry slam into you.
Because they're inside, and you're like, okay, maybe I can do this. And then you get swarmed by like 30 Horde outside that were alerted by the Tauren and undead that said, "Come on in," which all of a sudden that kind of changed like a month ago to when the shards, from my experience, again, it's all anecdotal, got more balance. I feel like they changed something that made things more bearable for the Alliance side. And it's just, people just seem to like take anything that happens like to like the most negative extreme. It's really odd.
But yeah, I think that overall, just for some reason, the way that the Alliance people are, they won't default to wanting to turn on war mode, which is sad because then you won't ever get to experience the exciting times like Slide just experienced earlier when he like 1v1 that one druid.
I think that it boils down to the Alliance are just kind of less apt to PvP, like in the world in general, and that the Horde, it just comes down to like which side you pick and which side you want to PvP in. And for some reason, the Alliance side just has a lesser affinity for it. And when they start having rewards introduced, then people turn it on, but they're only doing it for the rewards and not for like the fun and quote unquote glory that comes with virtual killing of the opposite faction, which I guess is where we differ from some other people in the Alliance, which is weird. It feels odd.
I think it's how we differ from most people in the Alliance, because even if you just look at our guild, like, I swear the 3 of us are the only 3 out of any raid group of like 20 to 30 people that we go with that have war mode on.
Yo, you're right though. Like, I did some mythic pluses, and my boys Lynn, Honors, Ash, they have it off because they don't want to have to deal with the inconvenience of being camped. But it's a weird thing where if you turn it off because you don't want to be camped, you kind of help contribute to the overall issue of being camped because there's less bodies to stand and fight and back up people who do have war mode on. It's a really interesting issue that I don't know if Blizzard can actually like get down and fix. It seems like it's too...
you can't fix people, like the mindset of people. You can do everything you want to in game, but in the end, it's down to like the thoughts of the players, and you can't change that.
And I do think that that they knew what they were doing by having a 400 eye level piece as the reward for PvPing, because even if you hated the idea of fighting in the world, you would turn it on because you want to get that gear, that heroic level raid gear on the first week. And I think what they were doing is they wanted to get some people in the Alliance to have the taste of blood in their mouth. People who are like, holy shit, this actually is fun. Like, murdering the opposite faction in the world while I'm doing questing is actually fun. And I'm hoping that some people who had it on were like, yes, I will always keep this on. This is a fun way to play the game. It's different. It's unique. It keeps you on your toes at all times. So I'm hoping that was what they were doing, and not just kind of being like, what we didn't know was a good idea because having that high of a gear before Mythic drops is smart, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope other people do get to enjoy and come to like war mode as much as the 3 of us have.
I'm actually curious about how much of war mode enjoyment is because we do it as a unit. Like, yeah, like we all play solo sometimes, most times, but I feel like when you play together in war mode, it makes war mode so much more fun because we know that like we have each other to like be like, hey, whoa, help me out here, because we always help each other out. Like, where was it? Yeah, I'm gonna fly out there to fucking Seekers and help you out, or like, yeah, we'll go here and like back you up. So like maybe that's part of like the core enjoyment is having like friends to play with.
Yeah, we're kind of at an. This is gonna sound super fucking lame. We're kind of at an advantage because we are like IRL friends, which is something folks, the people who don't do war mode might not have, because they're like, yeah, what can they do? Put out an all points bulletin on local defense. I'm getting beat up, and then someone comes at them like, build the wall. 9/11 was a lie, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, because like if I didn't have you guys as a backup, like I have as Guild, and they move sometimes. I can mobilize like any like defense chat into making a raid, but if that raid begins to die at all, they all quit. But I know that with Immune being a healer and Aaron being a fire mage, we could probably wreck any party of 5 with the 3 of us. So maybe that's what it is. Everybody make some friends with a holy priest and a fire mage, and you got it. You'll be fine.
We've cracked the code.
You don't even have to be a good fire mage. You just have to play it.
Just do some murdering.
I didn't turn Greater Pyroblast on until 4 to 5 months into the expansion.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so time warp.
You said we were friends, and friends don't do that to each other.
Friends make friends take shots. That's what my grandma taught me.
Let me go find the Svedka. Okay, so what do you got for us this week, Slide?
You guys need to name 13, potentially 13 dungeons for me. And these dungeons are from Legion. So name the Legion dungeons. Go.
Oh.
Now Therion's Lair. Dark.
Maw Souls.
Something Thicket.
Dark Heart Thicket.
Halls of Valor.
Upper Karazhan, Lower Karazhan.
Seat of the Triumvirate. Cathedral of Souls, I think.
Cathedral of the Light.
Cathedral of Screams.
Maybe. Shit. I'm so bad at these time warps. Shit.
We got the one in Valshara. What's the one in? Is it? Heart of Azeroth.
Time's up. So I do believe that Aaron won that one. Aaron said Dark Heart Thicket, Halls of Valor, Therion's Lair, and surprisingly, Sea of the Triumphant, which I thought neither of you would like remember, because
I played it like, twice.
Once.
Yeah, I played it twice.
We ran like no times.
I'm surprised.
You guys both...
Did anyone get Cathedral? Because I only ran Cathedral once.
So you guys both said Cathedral, and Immune said Cathedral of Light, and Aaron said Cathedral of something else.
It was like a bad word. I think I said Screams or Cathedral of Souls.
Yeah, it was Souls. So it was Cathedral of Eternal Night is what that one is. So Aaron got Thicket, Halls of Valor, Therion's Lair, Seat, and Immune got Maw of Souls and Karazhan. You guys didn't mention Black Rockhold, Court of Stars, Eye of Ashara until later. The Archway, Vault of the Wardens, Violet Hole.
So we named most of the original ones.
Yeah, because they added in a lot of the ones, which is still
I played a lot of the
Suramar
ones. I hated them. I think my body did me a service and just got rid of them. Court of Stars and the Archway.
The Archway was the one where that fucking man froze time, right?
Yeah, where that became the running meme of like, I don't want to get lost in time, okay?
Yeah, because he was like, lost in time. So, Immune, that means you get to take your shot again. So let's get the shot on the air. Get up and close to that mic.
2 weeks in a row of me like gagging on a shot on air. Let's go. Hello.
He was like, I'm not gonna cough. I watched his face as his eyes bulged, and the cough came out of his
I
esophagus.
tried really hard not to.
So it's not just here at the studio who are having fun with the Devil's Brew. We caught up with Growliina at the Snug Harbor Inn this afternoon. Let's see what she had to say.
Hello there, listeners at home. Your favorite roving reporter here with fellow mage and new drinking buddy, Neost. How are you doing today, Neo?
Oh, you know how it is, just taking it easy.
So since we're at the old Snug Harbor, I gotta ask, what's your drink of choice here?
The anchor ale.
Ah yes, a woman of taste. Well, I'm sure you've done something shameful when feeling loose on the juice. What's the craziest thing you've ever done while drunk?
Like in real life or in the game?
This is real life, Neo. I'm unsure of what you mean.
LOL, my friends and I did an entire dungeon drunk once. It was pretty hard to do.
Ah yes, we've all had our wavy nights before. Well, cheers to you, Neo, and cheers to the audience. Thanks for letting this girl drink on the job.
Well, thanks for that, Growliina. It's always nice to know what's happening out in the world of Warcraft outside of the studio here.
And also, if you're a new listener or somebody who forgot or just skipped that part, Growl on the Prowl is an actual real-life interview conducted by Growliina in-game with strangers on the streets of Borealis that are voice-acted for your amusement. So just remember that these are real-ass interviews with real-ass other players who are confronted by a worgen.
Yeah,
on
so
all
if you happen to
fours.
run into
Who-
Growliina
yeah,
on the
who you-
streets, like, hit her up for an
Who
interview.
usually runs at them in all fours and slash Ys. Hey, give me an interview.
Honestly got to be terrifying being on the other end of it. So the people who are interviewed are honestly saints. Like, they go along with it, and it's crazy.
So in other news, we just found some more data mined information that will be in-game in 8.1.5, and this one is in relations to the novel by Golden, the Before the Storm.
So I know that we're normally a pretty spoiler-heavy show, but this is your fair warning. If you do not want spoilers on story beats from Before the Storm, this is your chance to get the hell out of here and run.
It's a good one. Please go read the book, and then I guess
Yes.
double back and listen to this second half of the episode.
I mean, I guess if not, maybe this will make you want to read the book. But
Mhm.
anyway, here we go. Beep, 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 beep. We have information about everyone's favorite gnome and goblin couple.
Oh, so we're talking about Safi and Grizik.
Like, fucking
I'm
finally.
really pulling for those kids.
On-
Yeah, they we haven't known anything about them other than they may or may not have blown up for months.
Like, oh my god, the fact that they're even there is crazy.
So anyways, it's been data mined that at least the Alliance are getting a request. Well, we assume that there is going to be a Horde version, but the only part that's been data mined so far is the Alliance version. So what's going to happen is Kelsey, as mentioned in last week's episode, you know, the champion that you have on your boat, she is going to give you a quest where you have to go and find her long-lost friend, Safi. So she sends you on this quest to go find Safi, and you go to, what region was it that they were last seen at in the explosion?
It was
Daenerys.
What's it called?
Right?
Yeah, Daenerys.
Yeah, so you go back there, and then you find, like, remnant pieces of feathers, you know, the bird that they built together.
The
Aw.
lovebird.
Yeah, so you piecemeal this bird back together, and then you'll use it to locate Safi, because I guess it has a tracker to find its way back to her. So you use it, and then you find the two of them, and they are like in a hideout. And I guess after the explosion, we're hiding because Gallywix would obviously be wanting to try to locate the two of them, and his goons are like eternally searching for them. So, you know, they were really worried when the Alliance character, and I assume there's a Horde version too, find them, and they freak out. They're like, "Oh, well, how did you find us?" And then, you know, obviously you have feathers with them. And then basically at the end of the quest, they're like, "How about we just pretend this never happened, and you can have feathers." So you actually get feathers as a battle pet.
Hell
Wow.
yes. The fact that we're even getting like full story beats, because normally, like, I feel like book characters don't make it into the game. Like when Jaina's
The only other one I can think of is Vol'jin's good human friend from Shadows of the Horde, or Shadows of Vol'jin, that Pandaria era book. But even he was tucked in the mountains, and he turns at you and he's like, "I'm not impressive. Don't talk to me."
Yeah, like they'll make it in, but it'll be so small. Like they put in Jaina's gnome apprentice. Oh, God, Kinsey, is that her name?
Kindy Sparkwhistle.
Kennedy. Like she's not in the game,
Kennedy.
but her father will light the lanterns in Dalaran, like in honor of her, like he did in the book. But this, I think, is probably one of the first, and if not, it's a pretty fucking major book story beat to make it into the game. Like it's nuts.
Which I think is telling, because I think this is one of the first times when it's overlapping, when Golden is writing the books and also writing the storylines in World of Warcraft, because I know she was signed on to actually help with that. So I think this is like the first time that we're actually getting up to maybe where like they're things that she's written in game, which I think is cool, and it's probably meaning that good things are, you know, to come.
It's definitely an easier way to handle even minor parts of your story beat if it's the same author or set of authors working with it, instead of like Knack Attack coming back and he's like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna filch your character. Is that okay?" And he has no understanding of what the characters are. Not that Richard Knack is bad. He's just the one other WoW author I could think of.
People shit on him, but I think I need to read his books to give his books a fair shake. Because I haven't read them because I've heard that they're shit. So, like, I don't really have my own opinion on them, which is a weird area to be in. But
Wolfheart was just, for what it was marketed as, it was not.
oof.
You roll in as with Varian in the story of the Worgen, but guess who's really important in both those people's lives? Malfurion. It's a Malfurion story.
Oh, you know what? That's fine. I'm cool with that.
I was not.
But, so do you guys think, Malfurion rules, do you guys think that this is an indication that they're going to be leading the Tinker class into succession?
I would only hope so, and assume so, and know so.
It is no longer me justificating if it will happen. It's me predicting the future. It's gonna happen. Hashtag Tinker class.
I think one of the
Tinkerer.
Tinkerers. I think one of the best parts.
I think Tinker is a racial slur.
Oh no, it's not.
Whoa!
It's like Gypsy in Ireland.
Oh no, it's...
So I think we have to make sure to call them Tinkerers every time.
No, it's Tinkers. But I think one of the coolest things to come out of this, other than the fact that we're getting beloved book characters in our WoW, is that along with Feathers, the little battle pet, there's also been data mined a mechanical parrot mount that looks identical to Feathers if it was like Feathers like evolved evolution in Pokemon. Like it's this beautiful big golden and silver mechanical parrot that I need to have. Apparently this bird was shown, it was shown during the WoW what's next panel at BlizzCon. Like we were at BlizzCon. I don't remember that. Do you remember that, Immune?
No, I do not remember this slide at all. Although they may have just shown it, but not said that it had anything to do with Safi and Grizik.
I think you're right. I think you just said flying. That also may have been about 3 or 4 StarCraft beers in. So who knows what we actually remembered from that what's next panel.
Who knows what you actually saw that day?
I could have been anything.
God knows I had work. I had the virtual ticket, but I didn't watch like any of it.
But yeah, that's exciting. Like they're gonna be in the fucking game finally. And it sounds like for right now it's Alliance only because Gallywix is trying to hunt them down to, make them make weapons for them. But I assume the Horde are gonna have a quest that's like, hey, go find this bird and go find these 2 slaves that I currently own.
Oh god, no, I just thought, what if the Alliance quest happens first, and then the Horde quest you kill them?
I don't think you can kill them, although...
Don't say
I
that.
don't know. They can kill them.
Gallywix would put a hit out on them. Oh god, now I bummed myself out.
What are you
Okay,
doing?
guys. So, like, even if he does that, I feel like the player character finds them, and then they bribe your player character to not tell anyone by giving you feathers, right? That's the way it will happen, hopefully.
Ooh, that's a pretty good. I like that theory. It's pretty good. But yeah, hell yeah. Speaking of flying things, have you guys bought the new mount in the mount shop yet?
Oh, the Chinese.
Which one is that?
The Chinese New Year one?
Aaron's ready to buy it. Aaron's ready to open his wallet right now and buy that pig mount.
I sure am not.
Yeah, it's for the Chinese.
Do you know what mount is my favorite? The one where the Worgen slumps over.
Ugh,
I have very nice mounts, some of which I've earned, some of which people have bought for me, and I still just run around on all 4s because it's my favorite.
Yuck. But there is a new pig mount for You're the Pig that actually is kind of cool, and I think I'm gonna buy it, but don't tell anybody that I'm buying it. It's like a cool, little piggy bank coin stone pig that can fly. So finally, pigs can fly, and people are already like, "Oh, it's a cash grab from Blizzard." And I'm like, it's a mount in the store. Like, if you don't like it, just don't fucking buy it. Like,
also, are these people going to talk about how all of us playing World of Warcraft is a cash grab anyways?
they probably are. I don't know. It's the same. It's just dumb. And they have actually made cool mounts in game that cost gold, like that sweet ass Kraga frog mount, or that crazy ass Lightforge suit mount. Like, you can get mounts in game. They're just gonna cost you some gold. I just thought it was worth tagging on there because it's a hot new item. Go out and buy it if you want. Or, I don't know. Don't, like Aaron, if you don't want to. That's cool.
I probably won't either, but I will acknowledge that it is pretty cool.
I think I'm gonna buy it today.
I think I'm going to buy it. Not. But you know what I would buy for $1?
What would you buy for $1?
Our sexiest NPC of the week, baby!
Oh!
Or should I say,
Well, Growliina has finally... accumulated enough good girl points that she can throw her ballot in the box, and she's voting for her number one zaddy, Gen Greymane.
Ooh, boy.
Although it stands to be said, and Growliina already cast her vote, but I'm interested in you boys' opinion. So he's a sassy, sexy man. Is he better when he's a Gilnean or when he's a Worgen?
So, I was... with the minute he was introduced as sexiest NPC of the week, I closed my eyes and I was like, have we ever seen Gen Greymane in human form shirtless? And then I realized, yes, we have. And those big pepperoni nips, they're there. They exist. And god damn it, they're sexy.
Wait, refresh my and our listeners' memories. Where do we see these nips so I can promptly Google it?
In Stormsong, the final confrontation between him
this is when he fights
and
Sylvanas. Yeah.
Because during Legion, he never wore a shirt when he was the Worgen.
He
So,
also never
when
had
he
a weapon.
transformed-
It's like, come on, Gen Daddy. We care about you enough to name you sexiest NPC. Like, don't just fight with your claws. Come on, put some armor on, have a sword or something.
Listen, Gen
I've
Daddy
seen this Gilnean
uses...
form with a sword on his hip sometimes, and I'm like, just keep it when you turn into a Worgen.
Listen, he doesn't need weapons. He uses his fists.
You know what Gen Daddy could use, though? And I hate to be that guy. Gen Daddy needs to get his old coat back.
Has he not worn that?
Legion era.
Has he not worn that coat?
No. Legion era, he would go shirtless, and I'm like, ooh, oof. Like the fur brustlin. By the way, I like Worgen form better. The fur brustlin. I was like, I can get down to clown with that. Then, beginning of BFA, he had a really cool naval jacket, equal to the one he wears like when he's a Gilnean. And I'm like, oh hell yeah! And I read like, Gen's gonna lead you in the attack on a Dazar. And I'm like, hell yeah! I show up. This boy is in his best tucked in tuxedo shirt, like sage green. I'm like, Gen, baby, what are you doing? You had a cool coat. Where's your coat?
I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to have to dry clean it after we take a Dazar. Like, I don't.
I had a nice coat, and I'm not gonna ruin it in your blood, Rastakhan. Also, give me your daughter.
Oh no.
I mean, actually, maybe this is what Gen actually said, because he is looking for an eligible like bachelorette for his daughter. So
give me Talanji's skeleton hand, and Anduin will put a ring on it.
I was just thinking, and I'm so sorry that this is a horrible thought, and please, if you don't want to hear this, turn it off right now, because it's not a good thought. But Gen has a wife, right? Mia Greymane.
Yep. He has a daughter too.
Is he in human form when they consummate? How does that work as a Worgen? Is it?
I mean, Gen is one of the punks who goes by.
No, she's not. She's not.
No, he is the only great of the Greymane, or of the Gilnean like High Council. Only him and Darius Crowley are Worgen.
I don't remember. Does the Worgen curse pass on genetically, or is it that he was bitten way after he had kids?
He was bitten way after. Tess was like 18 years old when he was bitten.
Okay.
Because Gen, Darius, they're all bitten the same time that the player character is.
Okay, good.
Or Gen slightly before.
So we can safely assume that Mia and Gen have not had sex since then, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to think about it anymore because it's weird.
Yeah, she almost died because he scooped her up as a Worgen, which is interesting that he would show up as Gen Daddy and then just leave. But he scooped her up and went through the portal with her, and even though she was like, I could save so many more.
Yo, his mustache is hot as fuck though. That Gen stash in human form.
Well, human, Worgen, somewhere in between, it don't matter, because Gen Daddy is our sexiest NPC of the week.
Your award's in the mail, Gen. Check it soon, baby.
So, while we are talking about some sexy things, let's slip on in to our top toot of the week. So, Aaron, you want to start us off?
This week's toot, like one after eating a big bowl of chili that your grandmother made, is a very heartfelt toot. Recently, our friend Austin returned to the World of Warcraft in the minorest of ways, but he was someone that the three of us played with in college. We were all roommates, and it was really great times, and it was really nice to have him back and play with him. He bought BFA. He's played a little bit with his boyfriend, but he was never really super into it. But even him coming back for just a little bit to hang out with us felt really nice, and it was a nice moment.
I mean, and I think he might be back at least temporarily because he was on earlier today leveling again.
He loves that mage. He's loving his mage life over there.
I mean, he just wants in of this mage squad that you guys have going on.
Squad up.
So, Immune, if you had to pick a toot, what was your top toot?
Let's see, what's my top toot of the week? I think my top toot of the week has to be along the same lines of what Aaron said, because it's like in the same vein, because we were all playing together with Austin, as Aaron said, and I was playing as my Warlock, and it was discovering that there is a Warlock spec that I like, because I feel like I've tried to level a Warlock at least 2 times before, and I didn't like it at all. So my top toot of the week this week is finding that I like Affliction.
That's a very good toot. And I'm, once again, non-goof. I'm glad someone is a huge fan of it. Because I was in your shoes and was less so, but I guess different folks for different strokes.
Maybe I just like the dots. I don't know.
It's gotta be it. The dots are fun. Sometimes.
Okay, Slide, how about you? What's your top toot of the week?
I got 3 top toots of the week, but only one is WoW related. So I guess that's the one that matters. I was really worried about doing Arcane Mage in Mythic Plus dungeons because I feel like both other specs are way better than it because there's no mana loss in between pulls. Whereas Arcane, it's like, oh god, this is a trash pack. I'm out of mana. What do I fucking do? But it actually went a lot better than I thought it would. I ran a bunch of dungeons as Arcane, did a lot of damage. Mana wasn't a big of an issue. So I think my top toot for WoW of the week is definitely realizing that Arcane can work in Mythic Plus and that it's not a total wash. My other top toots are that PD Piranha's out in Smash Bros. And that also Kingdom Hearts 3 is out, and I love that game so much. Those are my...
It's a good time for games.
Yo, it's a great time for games. And it's been, honestly, it's been a really good 2 years for games. 2018, 2019 have been great years for games so far. It's crazy.
So I guess if we are all done tootin', it's time to wrap up this here podcast.
Yeah, I think we're about done here. We touched on a lot of topics, talked about some for way longer than we thought we would, but that's always good. So if you guys have any comments, questions, complaints, cum shots, send them on over to donotrelenttpod@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at donotrelenttpod on Twitter. You also, if you're so inclined, to leave a review on iTunes. I'll read it on the air, even if it's a 1-star or a 2-star. I don't care. I want some kind of feedback. That'd be great, grandiose. What about you guys? Where can we find you guys out in cyberspace?
You can find me, Alex, or Immunization, best on Twitter at NewEraAlex.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at TheBigaCheesy on Twitter. And you can find my other World of Warcraft-based podcast I make with my good friend and roommate Will at Heroes Callboard on Twitter and iTunes.
All right. That's it for us. We'll see you guys next week. And remember...
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.